There is an organ inside you that works in silence, asks for almost nothing, and yet carries one of the heaviest workloads in the human body. Today, I want to take you through this extraordinary organ in a way that is medically grounded, but still deeply human. We will explore what the liver actually does, the most important liver diseases and disorders, the natural measures that may help support liver health, including specific fruits, vegetables, and nuts, and what ancient healing systems understood about this organ long before modern laboratories existed. And we will also look at the global picture, because liver disease is not only a personal health issue, it is a worldwide burden shaped by infection, poverty, alcohol, obesity, environment, and inequality. Viral hepatitis alone caused enormous mortality in 2022, and liver cancer remains one of the deadliest cancers worldwide. Before we begin, an important note: natural support is not the same as medical cure. Food, movement, alcohol reduction, weight management, and selected complementary practices may help protect or support the liver, especially in fatty liver disease and general metabolic health. But none of these should replace proper diagnosis or treatment when someone has hepatitis, cirrhosis, autoimmune liver disease, liver failure, or cancer. And many marketed liver detox products are either poorly supported or potentially harmful. And the tragedy of liver disease is this: it often develops quietly. Many people do not feel the damage in its early stages. By the time symptoms become obvious, the injury may already be advanced. That is why the liver deserves reverence, not neglect. It performs more than 500 vital functions, helps regulate chemical levels in the blood, produces bile, processes nutrients, stores vitamins and minerals, contributes to blood clotting, and is unusual among solid organs for its capacity to regenerate after injury. Part 1. What the liver really does. The liver is not just a filter. That description is too small for such a vast organ. The liver is more like a biochemical command center. All the blood leaving the stomach and intestines passes through it. There, the liver processes nutrients, modifies chemicals, neutralizes some toxins, metabolizes many medicines, and prepares substances either for use, storage, or excretion. It also produces bile, and bile is essential for the digestion of fats. Bile acids help emulsify fats, help excrete cholesterol, and even have antimicrobial effects. The liver is also a builder. It makes proteins that the body cannot do without, including important plasma proteins and proteins involved in blood clotting. It helps regulate cholesterol and lipid transport. It stores glycogen, which acts as backup fuel, and it stores fat-soluble vitamins as well as minerals such as iron and copper. It also processes bilirubin, a breakdown product of old blood cells, helping the body safely clear it through bile. When the liver begins to fail, these systems start to unravel, and that is why advanced liver disease can lead to jaundice, bleeding problems, fluid buildup, confusion, and eventually liver failure. And there is something almost poetic about the liver. It is both resilient and vulnerable. It can regenerate after injury to a degree that few organs can. But if injury becomes chronic, repeated, or overwhelming, regeneration gives way to fibrosis, then scarring, then structural distortion. At that point, what was once an organ of renewal becomes an organ trapped in damage. Part 2. Common liver diseases and disorders. One of the most important liver conditions today is fatty liver disease, now often referred to as MASLD, previously called NAFLD. This is when excess fat accumulates in the liver in people whose disease is driven by metabolic dysfunction rather than alcohol. It is closely linked to obesity, insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, and metabolic syndrome. It is often silent, which makes it dangerous. Many people have it without realizing it. Some remain in the simpler fatty stage, but others progress to inflammation and liver damage, and from there to fibrosis, cirrhosis, and even liver cancer. NIDK describes MASLD as one of the most common causes of liver disease, and recent literature describes MASLD as a major and growing public health challenge, with global prevalence now roughly around 1/3 in some estimates. Then there is alcohol-related liver disease. Alcohol can first cause fat accumulation, then inflammation, then more severe and permanent scarring. The NHS notes that alcohol-related liver disease often causes few symptoms until the liver has already been badly damaged. By then, people may develop jaundice, swelling in the abdomen and legs, weight loss, vomiting blood, confusion, or muscle wasting. What makes alcohol-related liver disease so devastating is that its damage can accumulate over years while the person still feels relatively functional. Another huge global issue is viral hepatitis, especially hepatitis B and hepatitis C. These viruses can establish chronic infection and slowly injure the liver over many years. WHO reports that hepatitis B caused an estimated 1.1 million deaths in 2022, mostly from cirrhosis and primary liver cancer, while hepatitis C caused an estimated 242,000 deaths in 2022, again mainly through cirrhosis and liver cancer. A major global estimate published in 2025 put the burden at about 254 million people living with chronic hepatitis B infection and 50 million living with chronic hepatitis C infection in 2022. That is not a niche problem, that is a vast global health burden. Then comes cirrhosis, the stage where long-term liver injury has led to severe scarring. Cirrhosis is not a single disease, but the endpoint of many liver insults: alcohol, viral hepatitis, fatty liver disease, autoimmune conditions, and other chronic injuries. NIDK and the NHS both note that symptoms may not appear until the damage is advanced. When cirrhosis progresses, the liver can no longer carry out its jobs properly, and the person may develop fluid retention, jaundice, itchy skin, weight loss, bleeding risks, and eventually liver failure. There are also autoimmune liver diseases, including autoimmune hepatitis, in which the immune system attacks the liver itself. NIDK describes autoimmune hepatitis as a chronic disease that causes inflammation and liver damage and can progress to cirrhosis and liver failure if untreated. This is an important reminder that not all liver disease comes from lifestyle. Some of it comes from immune dysfunction, genetics, infection, or medication reactions. And finally, we must mention liver cancer, especially hepatocellular carcinoma. Liver cancer is the 6th most commonly diagnosed cancer and the 3rd leading cause of cancer death worldwide. A 2025 Lancet commission projected that if current trends continue, new liver cancer cases could rise from about 0.87 million in 2022 to 1.52 million in 2050. The same commission estimated that at least 60% of liver cancers are preventable through control of modifiable risk factors, such as hepatitis B, hepatitis C, alcohol, and metabolic dysfunction-associated steatotic liver disease. That makes liver cancer one of the most tragic examples of preventable suffering. Part 3. Natural support: what may truly help. Now let's speak honestly about natural healing. The best supported natural approach for liver health is not an exotic supplement, it is a pattern. A healthier body weight when needed, less alcohol, more movement, and a dietary pattern rich in whole plant foods. For fatty liver disease in particular, NIDK says doctors recommend weight loss and diet change, and evidence reviews consistently support Mediterranean-style or otherwise healthy plant-forward patterns. These patterns tend to include vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains, nuts, olive oil, and modest amounts of fish, while limiting refined sugars and heavily processed foods. The evidence is strongest for the pattern, not for one magic ingredient. That matters. A 2024 meta-analysis found that higher vegetable and fruit intake was associated with a lower likelihood of developing NAFLD. Reviews of Mediterranean and DASH-style dietary patterns similarly point toward benefits for hepatic steatosis and fibrosis risk. So if you want to talk about natural support with integrity, start there. Daily food structure, not miracle marketing. For fruits, think in terms of whole fruits rather than juices. Whole fruits bring fiber and phytochemicals without the metabolic hit of concentrated sugary drinks. Good examples to build into a liver-supportive pattern include berries, apples, pears, citrus fruits, and grapes. I am not saying these fruits cleanse the liver like a sponge. I am saying they fit the evidence-backed dietary patterns associated with better liver outcomes, especially in metabolic fatty liver disease. Reviews also suggest berry-derived compounds are being studied for NAFLD, though that science is still emerging and should not be exaggerated. For vegetables, the most helpful mindset is abundance and variety. Prioritize leafy greens, broccoli, and other cruciferous vegetables, carrots, beetroot, peppers, tomatoes, and other colorful vegetables. Why these? Because healthy liver-supportive diets repeatedly emphasize vegetables overall, and some of the beneficial interest in colorful vegetables is tied to carotenoids and other antioxidant compounds. Again, these foods are not a cure for cirrhosis or hepatitis, but they are part of the nutritional terrain in which the liver is less metabolically burdened and better supported. For nuts, the evidence is more nuanced, but they still have a place in a liver-friendly pattern. Meta-analytic work suggests nut intake may have a protective association with NAFLD, and reviews discussing Mediterranean-style liver-supportive diets commonly include nuts as a useful component. Practical examples include walnuts, almonds, and pistachios. These are not liver medicine in the pharmaceutical sense, but they provide unsaturated fats, fiber, and phytochemicals that fit the kind of diet repeatedly associated with better metabolic and liver outcomes. Part 4. Ancient Traditions and What They Understood. Long before modern hepatology existed, ancient medical traditions recognized that the liver was central to vitality, digestion, internal balance, and disease. Their anatomy was not always modern, but their intuition about the liver's importance was often profound. In Ayurveda, the liver has long been associated with metabolic fire, or Agni, and with Pitta, the principle linked to transformation, heat, and digestion. Historical and scholarly discussions of Ayurveda describe the liver as a metabolic organ, almost a furnace of transformation. That language is ancient, but in a symbolic sense it resonates with modern physiology. The liver is indeed a place of conversion, processing, and biochemical fire. At the same time, NCCIH warns that some Ayurvedic preparations may contain toxic levels of lead, mercury, or arsenic, so reverence for tradition must be balanced with modern safety standards. In traditional Chinese medicine, liver-related concepts are broader than the Western anatomical liver. TCM historically links the liver to regulation, flow, and systemic balance. Modern reviews note that TCM has been widely used for liver conditions, especially in China, but strong conclusions about efficacy are still limited by variability and quality of evidence. That does not mean the tradition has no value. It means it should be approached with discernment, not blind faith. The wisest way to engage ancient traditions today is to separate principles from unproven promises. The principles that remain valuable are these: respect digestion, reduce toxic burden, do not live in excess, recover properly after illness, and understand that organ health is shaped by rhythm, environment, and daily habit. Those insights still matter. But when traditions are translated into modern supplements, powders, tonics, and detox kits, safety becomes crucial. The liver can be harmed not only by alcohol and viruses, but also by certain drugs, herbal products, and dietary supplements. NIDK's LiverTox and DILIN resources exist precisely because drug and supplement-induced liver injury is real. Part 5. What real liver protection looks like. If you truly want to support your liver, start with what actually changes risk. Get tested when appropriate. Take hepatitis seriously. Use the hepatitis B vaccine when eligible. It is an important cancer prevention tool because it prevents chronic hepatitis B, which can lead to cirrhosis and liver cancer. Be honest about alcohol. Respect weight gain around the abdomen and metabolic syndrome. Do not romanticize supplements. And do not wait for pain, because many liver conditions remain quiet for a long time. And if you are building a daily lifestyle around liver support, make it practical. Build meals around vegetables. Choose whole fruits over sugary drinks. Use nuts like walnuts or almonds in sensible portions. Keep ultra-processed foods and excess added sugar lower. Move your body regularly. Treat alcohol as something that can injure, not something the liver simply handles. That is not a fashionable detox. That is organ respect. The liver is one of the most sophisticated organs in the human body. It is chemistry, architecture, defense, storage, purification, and resilience all at once. It keeps the blood usable, the nutrients manageable, the toxins more tolerable, and the entire body biochemically stable. It can endure a great deal, but it should not be forced to endure everything. So the deeper lesson of liver health is not simply what herb should I take. The deeper lesson is this: what kind of life am I giving this organ to process? What am I asking it to carry every day? What am I feeding it, exposing it to, drinking into it, ignoring inside it? Because the liver remembers, and over time it writes the story of how you have lived.